Yes.
Hi, everyone. It is Christine again. I am fresh from vacation. So if today goes wonky somehow, you're going to know why. But today I know we're in capable hands because I have my beautiful and wonderful and talented guest, Diana Sofia, with me and with us today. She and I have known each other for quite some time. She is a coach of mine inside a program that I'm in with my coach, James Wedmore. I have adored learning from Diana, getting to know her over the years. I've learned so much from her, and I've enjoyed seeing her progress over the years as well. And she is a subconscious mindset and nervous system regulation coach for female entrepreneurs. And she is here all smiles and raring to go. I know we have just discussed
Yeah.
what we're going to talk about today, and we're so excited to be together here with you. Thank you so much, Diana, for being here today.
Thank you so much, Christine. And thank you so much for such a lovely introduction. I always love and enjoy your company, your energy. You're always so bubbly and just like happy. So it's my absolute pleasure to be here. And yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, I have loved every minute of knowing you, and I know we're going to learn a lot from you today and experience a lot from you today as well. So let's get going. And we've talked about so many different things already. Let me ask you, how did you become interested in nervous system regulation? Let's start there.
hmm Okay, so basically I didn't know anything about like this topic of subconscious reprogramming and nervous system regulation when I started being a coach. Like my first type of coaching that I did in this world was health and wellness coaching. So I was like a nutrition holistic health and nutrition coach for people that just wanted to feel better, like eat healthy, like do more exercise and that type of thing. And while I was doing that, what I started noticing is that people, and even myself, right, were having this experience where like they would be on track with their eating, with their healthy lifestyle and whatever it is, and then they will fall off track. And it was this like on and off thing, right? On track, off track, on track, off track. And I came into the coaching world because I wanted to be able to create deep transformations in people. Like that has always been is one of my values. It's like how can I make like a deep transformation in the world and in people. And that's what drove me initially to even become a coach. So when this was happening, I was like, okay, wait a second, like there's a trend here that I don't like, because I would love to be as effective as I can as a coach. And in that process of like wondering what makes people transform in a sustainable and also permanent way, right? Like what makes people, because you have seen people, right? Like we all have seen people that literally says like, I'm gonna do this, and they suddenly just become a different person. It's like there's something that happens there, right? So I started becoming curious about that, and that led me to learn about the subconscious mind. So that was my first step. I learned that our mind, if we were to see it as an iceberg, only 10% is conscious mind and 90% is subconscious mind. And I had no idea, but in that process, I learned that 90% that is a subconscious mind is basically in charge of 95%, which is insane. 95% of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and also lack of behavior, right? Inaction every single day, and it runs in autopilot. So our brain is this amazing, machine, right? That it's like so wise and so good. And it loves being efficient. It loves saving time, saving energy, because just because we think and everything, we like spend a lot of energy there. So because of that, wanting to be efficient, it automates a lot of things. So those are those programs that are being run in the subconscious mind. So then I learned, that the reason why it's so hard for some people to make those shifts is because shifts are happening at a surface level. We're using willpower, discipline. We're using basically the faculties of our conscious mind, like reason, our ability to focus, be disciplined, make plans, make goals, all of the faculties of just that 10% of our mind. And we are missing, for the most part, when anyone wants to make a change in their behavior, for the most part, they will approach it from a conscious mind perspective. Oh, let me just make a plan, make a goal, put it in my calendar, and just get it done. you know but then most of us, because we don't know that the mind has these two parts, right? We miss out on actually taking advantage and leveraging that 90% of the subconscious mind. So that was what was happening with my people. And then also in that process, I also learned, for example, how their emotions, and like the stress that they were feeling, the load of like work or everything, like all the emotional part had such a huge impact in their eating behaviors as well. A lot of people were eating, like a lot of my clients were eating because they wanted to cope with their emotions, and obviously there was yeah, and basically they had all these emotions that they didn't know how to process, how to feel, how to reduce, how to regulate, how to get back to balance, right? So then they would use food and or distractions to cope with those emotions. So that's how I basically came into learning, like that in order for a person to make a easier change that is sustainable, that is permanent, you have to engage not only the conscious mind, but also the subconscious mind, and how you do that is with tools like hypnosis, like EFT tapping, like there's a bunch of things like Marisa Peer's rapid transformational therapy. There's also rapid resolution therapy. There's psyche. I mean, like there's literally an endless yeah, list of methodologies that can access and shift the subconscious mind, so that what people experience on the other side of that is that instead of like forcing themselves to do these things or forcing themselves to think and feel in a certain way, these things just come naturally because you shift the subconscious mind, you shift the way that the mind is reading the world, reading all the experiences that you're going through and everything. And then what happens on the other side of that is that your brain automates that as well. So then you have all these like amazing new patterns of thinking, behaving, feeling that are empowering, that are supportive of your life happiness, of your goals, of your dreams, of taking the actions that you want to take in order to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve, that support having amazing relationships, right? Like fulfilling, connective relationships, empowering relationships. And all of that just gets automated by the brain. So that's why I became fascinated by this. And then when I learned about that, I also did a massive transition in how like I work my coaching. So like I learned about hypnosis, EFT tapping, and all the stuff to be able to support people in this capacity. And actually, I also shifted I mean, that has been a slow process, but basically, I shifted. So now I work with female entrepreneurs just because I have personally experienced, like what it's like to start a business, which is crazy bananas. And it like literally pushes you to the edge of like, I don't know, edge of your comfort zone again and again and again. And there's so many fears and so much uncertainty and like and self-doubt and all these things that show up. So like I shifted my practice to help female entrepreneurs fully show up in their business with authenticity, with like their whole selves, right? And we do that by overcoming those fears. We're helping them overcome those fears, that self-doubt, anything that is getting on the way of them truly shining, in their businesses. So yeah, so that's a little of the story of how I end up here.
That
Yeah.
was fantastic. I informed our listeners that they would be learning a lot today. I really enjoyed listening to that explanation of your discovery process, but also how the brain is wired and how we end up fighting against ourselves so often because
Yeah.
of all of these subconscious processes, and how we really can harness the power of what we want, our desires,
Yeah.
by doing the kind of work that you have invested so much time and energy and passion into. So thank you for that wonderful explanation. I find myself
Thank
fascinated.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I find myself fascinated by the fact that the starting point for you was health, eating,
Hmm.
wellness, because I think so many of us have experienced a conflictual relationship with
Yeah.
health habits. Could you talk a little bit about that? What have you learned through this journey that you've taken about our relationship with taking care of ourselves in such a fundamental way?
Yeah. Oh my God. That is a whole world. So yeah, I think what I wanted to add also to what you said is that like about like conscious and subconscious mind, and it relates totally with like health habits and everything, is that our conscious mind, and this is exactly how it works and why it's conflictual, like in and not just in health and wellness, but in every area of our life, we're gonna see that like that duality. There's a part of us that wants to eat healthy, that wants to like, feel good. And it's like, oh my God, yes, it's like exercise. It makes me feel so good, so alert, so sharp. And also when I eat good, like eat like healthier, like I feel like this and that. So that part that has our best interest in mind is our conscious mind. So the conscious mind is the one that sets the goals, the plans, knows exactly what we want and what we need in order to thrive in life. Is that like, and that's basically the prefrontal cortex. So it's also the part of our mind that has the willpower and all this, and willpower, discipline, like uh puts like sets like like the schedule, all that stuff that is more like straightforward like that, right? So then what I learned in this path of discovery, and then also with my background in health and wellness, is that we're always going to have that duality of like the conscious mind wanting to do better, knowing how to do better, actually. And this is what happens to a lot of people. I know I would be much better off exercising, eating healthy, blah, blah, all these different things, sleeping early, like not being on my phone, blah, 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 all the healthy habits, right? But then the subconscious mind at some point has automated these, habits that are maybe not as supportive of our well-being, just because it became a habit, right? And then the habit was automated, and then they're just running as automations. So that conflict that we feel in our health and wellness department, in our well-being, like wanting to do one thing, but then noticing how we may start well, but then fall off, is that like almost like a little like it's not really a battle, but it's kind of like it's that these two forces, inside of us. Yes, one pulling to, okay, this is what we have been doing, and that is the other thing about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind automates everything, and then once it has automated all that stuff, it, even if it's like consciously, that is not supportive of your health, because you continue to be alive, the subconscious mind takes that as information and says like, oh, okay, perfect, you're smoking and you're still alive, so then that must mean that you need smoking to stay alive. So then it automates everything. Oh, you're eating like this and that and you're still alive, okay, so then that must mean that it's fine to eat like this and stay alive. And your subconscious mind is like, among many things, inside, like it also has a primitive mind. The primitive mind is meant to make you survive, right? It's always looking out for making us survive. So then what happens is that because we're still alive and we're eating like that, we're like I don't know, not exercising, whatever it is, it thinks, okay, perfect, this is working out, so why change it? you know? So then it literally thinks, that if we change any of those behaviors, to what we know consciously are more positive ones, right? It literally thinks that you're gonna die, because this already means not die, and then or anything outside of that is you may die. So then it brings resistance. It literally brings like resistance, cravings, thoughts, obsessive thoughts about like eat that chocolate cake, so that it gets you to stay on that track. So then the best thing that we can do, and this same thing is applicable for everything, also business, right? Same thing. You're gonna have all these, like we have automated, it's like we don't go on social media and do stories. We have automated that it's like that's scary. We have automated that like selling my offers, like no, it's like we don't do that. We don't want to be salesy. We have automated all these track of things that are like safety, right? And like being in our comfort zone and whatever, and everything outside of that, the subconscious mind sees it as a threat to your survival. We consciously know that if we like actually switch to eating healthier, like doing more workouts, whatever it is, we're not gonna die. Actually, we're gonna like thrive, right? And we same in business or in our careers, we know that if we show up like more powerfully and confidently and whatever, we're not gonna die, but the primitive mind, like which is anyways in the subconscious mind, it's like is just in that one track. This is how we live type thing. So what I tell everyone is like if you want to naturally behave, think, and feel in a way that is going to be supportive to your well-being, to your health, to your fitness, to your business, to your career, to your relationships, then you have to find those patterns of thinking, behaving, and feeling that are an obstacle to just being the best you can be in your relationships, at work, in your business, and in your health and wellness, so that you can clear that, rewrite it, rewire it, and then you can align your subconscious mind to support you in those goals because that's 100% possible. And that's exactly so, like, I literally just share last week that I usually do a debrief, at the end of the year of every area of my life. What went well, what didn't go that well, and how would I make it in this new year at 10 over 10? And as I was doing that, I literally, like, the first thing I noticed is that every single thing that I want to do better is going to require for me to rewire my subconscious mind and my nervous system, adapt my nervous system to behave, feel, and think in a different way so that I can more easily achieve those goals, that 10 over 10 or like close to 10, right? Like 8 over 10 or whatever in those areas of my life, right? And it's just funny because like that's the easiest way to do it. Then we can also like I love using the conscious mind to create direction, right? It's okay, what is that we want? What is that we like? What is like what would make us the happiest, like if it happened in our business, in our career, in like what would be happy with in our health and wellness. Okay, awesome. Use your conscious mind to set those goals, to make those plans, to strategize how to get there, but then involve your subconscious mind and your nervous system, regulating your nervous system to support you in that, so that you can automate those empowering, supportive behaviors and thoughts and emotions that are going to take you there without having to row against the current. So basically, that's like, yeah, that's how I would say. And that's why, going back to your initial question, that's why we have that like almost resistance, like to doing those things, just because mind has automated that, primitive mind has automated that and has said like, this is why we're still alive, even though it doesn't make any sense in many cases.
Yes, I do know. Yes, and I as I'm listening to you explain these things, I keep thinking how valuable it is to have the help of a coach
Yes.
to observe what's going on, to observe what are the triggers, to observe what are the repeating patterns, because sometimes just left to our own devices, we're not even we might be eating the same way every day, but not recognizing that that's because we're stressed or because we
Yeah.
don't believe in ourselves and those kinds of
Yeah, or
important
because of
things.
fear, right? Like maybe we're feeling stuck in some sort of like a place or whatever, and what is keeping us stuck is fear of like whatever of I don't know being rejected, fear of like failure, fear of making a mistake, so many fears that keep us in our place, right? So yeah, yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, and that's why it's like a lot of people have this like almost like two voices in there. It's like, I know what to do, and a lot of people have this experience. Like, I just know what to do. I know what I should be doing. I know what's good for me. I know what's gonna be good for my health, for my business, for my relationship. And I cannot get myself to do this or feel this way or think this way or believe this, that this empowering thing that would help me really move forward, right? It's because of these two minds, and the solution for that is always hands down also involved in whatever coaching you're doing, like have like a mentor, to guide you in each of these areas, right? And that's our thing. That's one of my strategies, going back to what you were saying. It's like um, athletes, anyone that has like achieved like anything big in their lives, like big goals, they have a team of people helping them. They have a coach, they have a nutritionist, they have like all of these different people, right? Same as like entrepreneurs, they are like learning from this person, that person. Like successful entrepreneurs are just like taking, from their mentors, right? They're not trying to go at this fully alone. They will read the books, they will do like they will have some reference, right? So have the coach that is going to guide you through like in each of these areas. And in whatever you do in the strategy of how to get to your goals, just always think, how can I make it easier, for me to behave, feel, and think and believe in a way that is going to be supportive of this goal that I'm trying to create in any area of my life. And that always is going to be, okay, I need to bring my subconscious mind on board. Whatever is in resistance, in objection at a subconscious level to this goal, I need to clear it, rewire it, like change it so that it can support me instead of hold me back, basically.
Yes. So regarding that, there are times when we don't know what our deepest subconscious fears are, correct?
Hmm. Yes. Hmm.
So that on our own, it might be almost, if not totally impossible to change the habits that we're doing.
Yes and no. So there's like I feel like there's layers. Okay, so I'll just, but I don't know if you want to ask more
Nope,
about
I'm
that.
just
Like
opening up
that's
that part of the
okay.
conversation. What do
Okay.
you do when I call it self-sabotage? When
Mhm,
you've got a coach, you know what your plan is, you have experience, and yet this funny thing happens where you lose the key to the door that you need to do the thing.
mhm.
And I call it subconscious because I call it self-sabotage because it
Mhm.
feels entirely outside of my conscious control. So I'm referring
Yeah.
to things that I have done, of course, in my
Yeah.
life too. So could you speak about that when it's so deep that it almost becomes funny that we do this to ourselves, and how do you get at those deepest levels of resistance to change?
I love this question. Okay, so how I see also like in the mind, as I was saying, as an iceberg, I feel like there's like levels, right? So like there's in the conscious mind, obviously you're gonna have your awareness of a lot of things, everything that is conscious, but also your conscious mind has the ability to find and like kind of pinpoint and see, become aware of some of those thoughts that are repeating in your mind, right? Some of those emotions, like that's amazing thing about the conscious mind is that it can be your investigator, our own personal investigator. It's like, what is that? There's a pattern repeating here, like every time this happens, then I feel like this, or every time something like this happens, then I'm thinking this and like going in my head and like, I don't know, getting into overthinking or feeling this way, feeling that way. So our conscious mind can have some access and awareness of what's happening at a subconscious level, right? So that is possible. And then after that, there is a deeper layer, which is the one that you're talking about, where we are literally unconscious to what we like. It's almost like we're unconscious to that deeper layer. There's like I feel like there is what we know that we don't know, and then what we don't even know that we don't know type thing. So like there's all those layers. And there is definitely 100% an unconscious part of it. And then when that happens, there's always gonna be like a pattern that you can still recognize. It's like gonna it's gonna be like you're saying, there's something funny that happens every time that, I'm about to do the thing, I'm about to get to that next level, and then the self-sabotage happens in some sort of way. I forget that thing. Anyways, whatever that may be. And then usually what is happening there, and we can like uncover that, is that we can take, that conscious pattern, like because you already kind of see that there's a little pattern there. And with either some like basically questioning, like guiding a coach guiding you in conversation, or even doing some hypnosis and asking this behavior, what's happening, what's trying to do, and everything, like that behavior or that pattern will answer. And like, which sounds totally weird that you can like talk to this thing like if it was a person, but that is possible. And also, if it's a pattern of emotions, like, oh, every time this happens, I then get into fear and then I stop, then you can dive into that emotion and then uncover what are the fears maybe that are happening that we are not aware of. We can uncover limiting beliefs. We can uncover core limiting beliefs, which is like those deeper, more broad, like I am not good enough, I don't deserve to, like have success in my life. Or like, for example, it's like I have had this pattern with like clients where, and it's like it's so funny because it comes in groups, I feel like, but literally several of my clients recently have had this experience where they were kind of bullied or put down for shining bright, for having the answers, for standing out as in their schools and whatever it is. And they, like people around them that didn't like that maybe felt jealous or whatever it is, were trying to like put them down. So then the thought, that belief was created: when I stand out, people don't like me. When I stand out, um, people bully me. So I have to just stay down, not shine, not like how do you call it? Like, yes, basically not stand out, not like do anything good. And they literally will lower their IQ. Like people, like I mean, we will, in order to, because here's the thing, a lot of these things that are happening in the past are things that are like that somebody bully you, whatever it is, are happening in formative years, right? Like many times, like either from 0 to 7, 8, or also like in our teenage years. And those are moments where like we are very vulnerable in our like development, right? So we take this to heart, like in the process of trying to belong, when we're teenagers, when we're rejected, that is a big hit to our like ego. And that literally goes against in at our subconscious level, primitive brain is saying this is going against your survival. We don't want this. So literally we will lower our IQ, which is crazy. And not us, right? Like our subconscious mind will lower our IQ, will make us more clumsy, more whatever it is, just to literally survive, survive. But like what we are experiencing on the other side of that is like I continue to sabotage myself. I don't understand. It's like I know there's a new layer of like new level of like me showing up in my life authentically. There's this like person inside of me that wants to shine through. This was 100% me. I literally was that, and I felt blocked, and I had no idea why. So that's why I love this question that you asked, because 100% there's moments where we will feel like there is way more potential that I'm not tapping into. There's this person inside of me that just wants to shine through, that is so powerful, so confident. And here I am just like dimming my light, playing small, shrinking, feeling so afraid and fearful and so like shaky and not confident. It's like, what's happening? What is, and then in that questioning process, in that sometimes I will get people in a more relaxed state, especially with tapping. So when we're doing tapping, and many times I do that in the very beginning, when people really need to like kind of like regulate their nervous system first. When we're tapping, we are basically tapping acupuncture points that are connecting with our relaxation response. And then what that does is like calm the person down, right? Calm the nervous system down, regulate the nervous system. And then sometimes we need to feel safe. Our subconscious mind needs to feel safe to be able to show you what is underneath many times, because the subconscious mind also wants to protect us. So many times it will hide from our awareness little events and little things that have happened. And many times these are silly things, like the thing that I'm telling you. It's like somebody, you had like a good grade and somebody just was like, oh, it's like, I didn't have a good grade. It's like, I don't like you type thing, like silly stuff like that. It will hide it, you know, until until it feels like you are ready to take care of it, and usually that is when you feel safe. So we sometimes do some tapping to feel safe, to be regulated, and then those things, those memories, those little things that created the pattern start arising and becoming yeah, like basically we can see them, so that's basically how we would handle, or how I would handle somebody that comes us with something that they have no clue why they are getting into this. And that's like what we would do in a, like, yeah, in a session, or and sometimes in group settings as well. Like in group settings I can guide people to really dive deeper into what created that, the pattern. Yeah.
Thank you for those beautiful explanations of such complex systems. When you say hide,
Hmm.
do you mean, I guess I'm asking for clarification of what you mean by hide, because I think
Hmm.
um, you're talking about these are just unresolved issues that
Yeah.
are kind of stored because they're unresolved. And
And they're pain and they were painful in their, yeah, in their time. So like the mind, it basically the mind, so that it like you will have some memories that you remember 100%. We all have them. But then the subconscious mind, so that it doesn't overburden us with all the different events, that were painful, it will store them in the background outside of our conscious awareness.
yes,
And also, actually, this is great that you're asking me this, because it does that, a lot of times we will get into a situation that either because of the emotion, the particular emotion that we're feeling, or because of the structure of the situation that we are experiencing in the present moment, looks very similar or feels very similar to something that happened in the past. So then we may feel, because of something that is happening in the present, really heavily triggered, like really, really activated. And usually when that happens, what is happening is that outside of our conscious awareness, so the subconscious mind is playing those old movies, all black and white movies from like many years ago that are storing the memory, and it's activating everything, right? Every single time that you felt like this. And then that super deep, deep, deep emotion that sometimes we feel, like the deep sadness that we feel because of something that happened in the present. And we're like, I mean, it makes sense that I'm feeling sad, but I don't know why I feel so sad. Or it makes sense that I'm like afraid or whatever because it's something new, but I don't know why I literally feel like I'm gonna die. And I have had those experiences many times where like I feel so overly activated. And that's like literally my little alert alarm. It's like, oh, what's happening here is that I am like, my whole system is not reacting, it's not responding only to what I have in front of me. There must be some stored away, hidden, memories that I don't have conscious awareness right now that are getting activated, even though I cannot particularly see them or like remember them, they're getting activated and are making these feel so much heavier than it would be. So that's like how I think about it. So when I get really activated, really triggered, I'm like, oh, there's some work to do here. There must be something there in the background that is like getting like activated, because of the similarity, because of the emotion, because of whatever. And some like belief that I'm like activating here. It looks similar to this one back here, So basically that's what's happening. And sometimes, like, so here's the thing, when we uncover those things, sometimes the person will have oh yeah, like, I mean, I remember this, like I have think about this thing before, but I have not thought about this event in a long time. So it's almost like you kind of remember if you want to, if you make an effort, or if you're in this situation, right? And some of those memories are totally new, like, oh my goodness, I didn't even remember that that happened type thing. And you can recover like new memories, right? But yeah, for the most part, are like silly little things that happen to our like 3-year-old, like 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, our teenage self, or even like 20, 21 can like leave a big impression depending on what it was, and it like if we see it from our eyes as an adult, we're like, oh, like that was a silly little thing, right? But obviously for your 3-year-old, 5-year-old, I don't know, 6-year-old, it could have been like a transgression of your safety, of like your security, of your belonging, of your, love, like appreciation, like all your emotional support, whatever it is, right? So because obviously at that age, we are not fully developed. So like we sometimes cannot even understand what's happening. And there's also a lot of personalization, right? Everything that happens around us is our fault type thing at that age, right? So it's like, oh, parents are like fighting. It must be my fault, like something wrong I have done or whatever. Or maybe they don't love me, or maybe I did something wrong. So there's a lot of personalization, and also there's a lot of like wrong meanings being attributed to what they are seeing. So that's why when people ask, okay, how can I just like moms ask like, how can I make sure that I don't traumatize my kids? It's like this sounds like anyone can get traumatized for the silliest little things. Like one, you won't be able to like stop it from happening. Seriously, you can be the most like conscious, aware, intentional mom, and like you will never be able to know everything that is happening in that little head of your kid. Impossible. And how they are processing, because also they come with their own processing system, right? Their own brain, and they're gonna process the events that happen to them, like the things, the experiences, like what so and so said, what mom said, what dad said, whatever it is, they're gonna process it in their own particular way. So there's not much that you can do in that department. The second thing where you can have more control is like whenever something happens, you can talk to your kid about like what they made that mean, what are you thinking about this, what are like kind of like, and just getting to understanding. It's like, okay, so what are your thoughts about this? What did you learn from the experience, to see if there's any faulty connections being made, so that you can untangle those at that age. It's so much easier to do it when like people are younger, than when we're adults. And then I just get I just get the people that have all these little things, that we need to just like process those past memories that we need to process, and just basically kind of clear the effects of those little memories in the present moment, and then automatically the person shifts. It's like incredible. Like basically like outside of 1 or 2 sessions, people feel massively different about the thing that they came with in the beginning.
I imagine that our listeners are having all sorts of experiences because I'm myself, while listening and enjoying your reflections, I came up with a memory that I probably had when I was, let's say, 7 or 8, and I did not.
Mhm.
I mean, it was a very meaningful memory, but I have
Mhm.
not thought about that in 30 years. So
Yeah.
30, 40 years maybe. So
Yeah.
how lovely that we have avenues of access, and how
Mhm.
lovely we have people like you to help us make sense of the pathways and the blocked pathways, and the fact that we can have real enjoyment in exploring what is possible for us. Can we shift a little bit? Thank you so much for all of this.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. Can we shift a little bit to, I'm thinking of two words, calm and joy, because we've spoken a lot about the investigation and the
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
painful memories and the faulty wiring and things like that. How do you use joy and calm, if you do, in terms of guiding people to really access what they do want to create for their future business, relationships, self-image, eating habits, what have you?
I love that. I love this question. Yes, we have been talking about, and I love that you're saying this, because also like in like my kind of like the process that I take people through. I always say that there's a clearing part of things, right? Like we're clearing all the things that we have been talking about up to now. And then there is the embodying, like actually taking action and embodying this new version of you, right? That it comes out of like upgrading all this like back stuff in the subconscious mind and in your nervous system. So I love that you use those words. And I don't know if like you're literally totally picking up. So I always say like that I in the process of helping people clear all these things, the idea is that on the other side of that, they will get to experience themselves as way more calm, way more grounded, and joyful in their lives. And when we are calm, ground, and joyful in our lives, what happens is that we have way more access to our inner resources. We have more access to our creativity, with way more access to our, I don't know, like resourcefulness and intuition and our focus. Also, we can focus so much better. We have more motivation, inspiration, and all these amazing things that can make us so effective in our day-to-day life, in business, relationships, in like health and wellness, in everything really, and like in our careers as well, right? So, how I guess I use those. It's like that's to me like the like part like the effect of the transformation, right? So we have a certain goal, like everybody that comes to me usually has a certain goal that they are trying to achieve. For the most part, for business owners, it's like a certain revenue goal, and like also how they want to feel, like in their everyday life, in when they're doing their business or when they're navigating their career so that they can be more effective. And a lot of times we're clearing all the things, but then we're like also embodying that new version of themselves in that regard. So I think this like next step that happens is like, who do you need to be, right? To make achieving whatever the goals you want, or the relationship that you want, or the health that you want, who do you need to be able to make that inevitable, to achieve that, to be able to make achieving those things inevitable. Oh, I need to be, I don't know, like maybe more consistent, and also feel more like, motivated and excited about my business and excited to like help people. And, like all these different ways of being, basically. And also embodying some of like, for example, like I used to have I'm just gonna use a clear example here, like of like my own experience. I really wanted to be a public speaker for the longest time, but I used to be terrified of public speaking. These type of situations, these type of interviews would literally like, I mean, make me like the days before I wanted to like I was stomach sick, I wanted to puke. It was just like so bad, like really, really bad, and I did all this reprogramming then to like become better at it. Same thing. I had so many thoughts because I'm Peruvian, and I English is my second language. When I started my business in English, this business, I had all the thoughts about like, oh, but I'm not concise and I ramble and I am not clear and blah blah. It was like all the things, and then I am not creative. What am I? What am I gonna talk about? Like all the thoughts and all the beliefs, right? It's like endless. So when I clear all the stuff, then what was left was me embodying this new version of myself. Because here's the thing, when we have all these things going on, the fear, the la 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 la, we are almost like we are in an identity, right? We're basically behaving in a certain particular way, and we get used to that. We clear all that stuff, we upgrade, right? Our system, let's just say all the beliefs, the thoughts, emotions, the behaviors, and then we are left with like sometimes, okay, so how should I behave in this thing? So like it's good to have this, like I love doing hypnosis for embodying this new identity until it becomes like second nature to me. So I remember in my transition into this business and really embodying that, like, I am a public speaker, I love speaking, I love communicating, I'm a good communicator. I had to clear a lot of the stuff and then do hypnosis to rewire my brain into this new identity. And that's how we use the next part. It's like, who do you want to be? It's like, how do you want to show up? It's like, you get to be and show up like that. Because if you can imagine it, you can 100% do it, right? So I feel like I use emotions like joy, calm, grounded as minors, as to how do I want to feel when shit's hitting the fan, you know? Literally, it's like when, oh, sorry, I also forgot to ask if I
That's
can curse.
okay. That's okay.
Anyway, how do I want to feel when, like the unexpected happens in my business, when there's a normal stress and whatever? I want to be able to feel calm because that's where I am the most powerful, and focused and sharp to take action and solve this thing. Even if you think about communication, right? A lot of the things that we're going to experience in our relationships, in business, in our careers will require us to communicate with another human to solve things, to like set boundaries, to communicate how we're feeling, and 100% of the times you will be a much better, clear, compassionate communicator when you come from a place of being grounded, calm, at peace, and like joyful, even better. But like if you're just neutral, you're going to be so much better and so much more powerful as a communicator. So that's how, like, I feel like I use those as my north. It's like, how do I want to be in all of these different situations, right? And obviously I still get out of my center and everything. It's like that has not changed. I think that what has changed is that it's much lower. I'm not getting super activated all the time by everything. And when I do, I know exactly the tools that I need to use, and I may need to get a hypnosis session or whatever it is so that I can get back to my center. Or like there's maybe something that I need to heal. But basically that's how I see those, like, yeah, those emotions as like a good north of how we have can experience more of our lives. And obviously stuff is going to happen in life that's unavoidable, and we are going to get out of our center. And I think it's a matter of like validating our emotions, validating our experience, and knowing that we have these tools that can get us back into center, and also we can use to heal whatever needs healing, if this is something that is repeating again and again like a pattern, or if we are really activated by something all of a sudden. It's like, okay, perfect. That may mean that I need to like clear some stuff from the past so I can heal and just keep moving forward in a much more powerful, calm, grounded, like joyful way.
Beautiful. I absolutely agree that those experiences of being calm, grounded, and joyful are expansive. They really help you to, first of all, not feel in fear, which
Mm-hmm.
happens to be the probably the biggest, most common trigger we have, right? That, right? The overeating, the going to distractions, it's all because we can't really handle what we're feeling at the moment.
Exactly.
But what if you had some tools and some real belief that they worked to
Mm-hmm.
calm yourself down the next time you felt like you were hitting a wall or doing something funny and sabotaging yourself? I think Diana's done a masterful public speaking job today and teaching job in really bringing us up to speed with what is possible for each of us,
Yeah.
that we can really operate at this superhuman level where we
Yes.
overcome the past and we overcome our fears and we move really straightforwardly towards what we want and desire for ourselves. So thank you, Diana, for doing the hard work in your life and in your career and with your passion, because it's really been a huge success. And I'm so grateful to learn from you today and to experience that. That memory I'm going to have to unpack that I got. But thank you, thank you, thank you. What a pleasure to talk with you and know you. And work with you. Please let us know how our listeners can stay in touch with you and potentially work with you and learn some more.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for your words. Oh my God, I love you. Like, thank
I
you so
love you
much.
too.
This is like literally my joy. I mean, if you cannot tell, it's like literally my joy and pleasure to just talk about these things. I'm so fascinated by them, and I seriously would love everyone to know about this because it's so powerful, and I see so many people suffering, in so many different ways, and also not getting to do and experience the things that they want to experience, and not, and even also like even just bringing it to like a person level, right? Not being able to see their potential, like out there, right? Like see and experience that version of themselves, right? It's like, it just breaks my heart. So like I literally just want like everyone to know about this. Either if they work with me or not, I don't care. Just go and get someone, like that can help you with these things, because also there's people with a lot of different specialties. They do the same work, but for relationships and for like health and wellness and this and that, so like it's amazing. And literally it can, exactly what you said, it can get you to experience yourself as kind of like superhuman, but it's just because like we are, that's us, but we don't get to see that in ourselves because of all this like noise and like stuff that is like clouding our view of ourselves. I always say, like we're so powerful, so amazing, we have so much talent, so many gifts that the world needs, and yet, we are thinking that we are like, I don't know, so small, so not powerful, we lack confidence, and all of that is just noise, 3D, like things that we learn and we can clear so that anyone can see themselves in this new light. And thank you so much for those like final words. That was amazing. Seriously, you said it so well. So yeah, how people can like contact me in, like, I love hanging out on Instagram. So yeah, my handle is I am literally like at I am Diana Sofia, and Sofia is with an F of Frank. That is like the little curveball that I'm gonna throw to everyone. Because I'm Peruvian, so like we don't do PH, we do F. And yeah, and then same, my website is literally dianasofia.com. And then I think we have a little like gift for everyone. So we have like I have a self-hypnosis recording that I use to start embodying this new version of myself. And Christine is gonna put it in this link, she's gonna be sharing with all of you guys.
Yes, thank you so much for the free gift. To get the hypnosis, right?
Hypnosis,
It
yes.
would be maketimeforsuccesspodcast.com/ Diana Sofia, again with an F, so Sofia. So again, it's
Hmm.
maketimeforsuccesspodcast.com/ Diana Sofia. So happy to
Perfect.
see you, Diana. So happy
Thank you,
you
same.
are shining so bright currently, and ever since I've ever known you, you've shown brightly, but I'm so excited to see you really expand your powers and your message and your work. It's a delight.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So happy for this opportunity. And yeah, thank you again.
Okay. All right, everyone. You know how to stay in touch with Diana. Her Instagram is awesome. You're going to see her little puppy too occasionally,
Yeah.
who is a joy, who is a joy. And Diana is a joy as well. So thanks so much for being with Diana and me today. Stay in touch. Keep listening to the Make Time for Success podcast. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. I loved it. That was